Hi and welcome to the We Need a Rose podcast, and Jesus George, it's a wonder I was ever born. And David, how goes the puppy wrangling, as I assume that Cheddar's exploits are far more entertaining than your still retired jokes?
I actually have a kind of funny story about Cheddar today. So I took Cheddar for a walk today. And he's fine, you know, well, he's a growing boy. He's about just over 5 months now, and he discovered his manhood apparently today. And he came across a very nice looking golden retriever, who is about, you know, Cheddar's a sausage dog. He's a dachshund. The golden retriever is about 3-4 times his size, right? But that weren't going to stop him. He climbed up on that golden retriever, and it became a golden receiver. Let's put it that way.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no.
Anywho, I stole that joke from someone from work. Thank you for that person.
Oh.
You know who they are. He did actually do that, but he came up with the golden receiver part, and I had to steal it.
That was the best part of the whole story, David. So once again,
that's why I stole it.
You failed.
I'm not original.
Right. No, well, we know this. Right, well, this is the second part of our massive 2022 preview episode, and we had intended to do movies and shows in one pod, but hey, you know us, we spent 2 hours just talking about movies, and there are a hell of a lot of shows out there this year that look amazing. Now, just like last time, we're going to run through the shows and give you our excitement ratings for the shows, and at the end of the pod, we're then going to give our own respective top 10s of what we're looking forward to most in the TV sphere this year. And we're going to try and keep it under 2 hours as well again. Right, David?
It's not going to be... okay, we say that. You said, when we were planning the previous podcast, well, the preview podcast, and you sent me a script through of like 15 pages, you were like, oh, don't worry about it, David. Now we just get through it. We'll talk about this, we'll talk about that. It'll be really quick. It'll go well fast. We'll get through it, no problem. It took 2 hours just to go through the films, Neil.
Yeah? What's your point?
Well, the point is you lied to me. The point is you have no idea about time management. And you say this is going to be under 2 hours, but it's not going to be, is it, Neil? Why are you just lying? You're just lying to everybody. And me, most of all. It's hurtful.
Oh, I'm going to hurt you in a minute. Digitally, somehow. I don't know.
Thankfully, we're not in the same room, yeah. You're bigger than me, so you yeah.
Anyway, the first show we're going to talk about today is Season 3 of Apple TV's, one of their original shows, actually, that's from the first launch they did, that's still going strong, and it is Servant Season 3. So yep, it's going to be more creepy baby and cooking shenanigans, with Toby Kebbell, Rupert Grint, Lauren Ambrose and Nell Tiger Free as a creepy religious cult nanny Leanne. Now, this is a really, really good show, and ironically, it always gets mentioned as an M. Night Shyamalan show, and almost every time people are like, oh, it's his one. Look, he directs some of the episodes and writes some of them, but the show was created, and I think I mentioned this before, by a British writer called Tony Bascallop, and he usually handles the writing duties on almost all the episodes. Well, Shyamalan, rocks up with his name and directs a few episodes each season, so arguably, Bascallop's imprint on the show is much larger than his. So, give Tony some credit. And to the show, it's just such a weird show, man, that I think by now, though, we can mention the twists in Season 1.
What the fuck? It's like a first episode as well.
It's the first episode. Where we find out that the main couple, the Turners, are mourning the death of their child, Jericho, and the mother, Dorothy, she's having a bit of a hard time coping with the loss and refuses to admit the baby's gone. And so they get a creepy doll to replace it, and she thinks the doll's real, and everyone else just plays along with the pretense for her mental health. Of course, then they hire the nanny, Leanne, who treats the baby like it's real, which is weird, and then by the end of the first episode, it's a real baby.
Dun dun dun! There's that line in the Season 3 trailer where it's like, it wasn't God that brought your baby back. And then they're like, well, who was it? That was fantastic acting, by the way. There. If anyone's out there that wants to, hire me as a voice actor. Bam. That was range. 2 characters. You heard them both.
That was 2 characters, was it? Jesus. But yeah, like you say, we're up to Season 3 now. And Season 2, kind of there was kind of like, Leanne was kind of fighting back and forth with the Turners. And they was kind of like, they reached kind of an agreement at the end of the second series. So going into Season 3, it's kind of starting with almost as much of a happy family as they can. But you just know the cults, they're outside. There's a body in the alleyway, David. There's a burnt corpse in an alleyway. It's kind of like she's almost joined the family now against the larger kind of cult. And it's just weird, man. It's just so unsettling, the show.
Yeah, I have a strange relationship with this show, with Servant. Whenever there's before starting it, I'm always quite hyped to watch it because the trailers are they're always on point. The trailers get you really interested and they do their job. They do their job well. They get you to want to watch the show. But whenever I start the show, I find it quite difficult to binge through it. It's quite a slow binge for me. It's not one of those where I can be like, bam, 2 days or 1 day, done.
Do you know, if you watched it when it first airs, they only air 1 episode a week, so you watch it and you build up to it each week.
See, like that I could manage. But I didn't go.
That's
into
how
it
Apple
that way.
intend for it to be done, man.
Yeah, I didn't go into it that way. I went into it quite late, so they were all available to me to binge.
So are you fully up to date now? You've seen all the season 2?
Yeah. I've seen all season 2. Yeah, I'm up to date.
Cool.
I am looking forward to this third season. It's just, I know when I get to it, it's going to be a slow burn. But I just want to make the eel scene in season 2. Fucked up. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, there's some really unpleasant cooking.
Who'd have thought cooking, like, it was like Hannibal, like, who'd have thought cooking
Hannibal
could be
did
horrific.
that very well. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. And also, it has been confirmed for a 4th and final season for next year.
Is that your excitement level? Sorry, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 for this one.
Okay, yeah, I'm about because the trailer does get you going, I'm going to say a 3. But I know when it starts, and then I'm about 2 or 3 episodes in, I'm going to be down to like a 2.
So next up, we have HBO's new show from Julian Fellows and the producers of Downton Abbey, and it is Downton Abbey in America, or as we're going to call it, The Gilded Age. This has debuted to horrific reviews on both sides of the Atlantic. But the only thing I can say for it that I know about it is it's got Carrie Coon in it, who was excellent in The Leftovers and plays the mum in the new Ghostbusters film.
People are pooping on it then, okay.
People don't like it, yeah, from what I've heard. But a lot of the reviews have been quite negative on it. But David, you like fancy shows with fancy people. Are you going to watch this?
No, I'm not going to watch this. I didn't like Downton Abbey. I tried watching the first season of Downton Abbey and it was just so slow, and I didn't care. I just did not care about like the butler wanting to do like more with. Just everything that was going on. I didn't care.
Okay, so in that case, David, I don't think we need to spend much more time on The Gilded Age. Because I think we can put it in a gilded cage, and I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5.
Well, the Gilded Age is only like a 30-year span period, right, in American history? It's the boom period of economic growth in New York City. That's. I'm pretty sure that's what the Gilded Age is. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and assume this is when this is based. Because I
don't care enough about it to
okay, all right. We'll move on.
Yeah. So what's your rating, David? 1 out of 5?
Yeah, 1 out of 5. I'm probably not going to watch it.
Yeah.
What for people that might be interested because they like Downton Abbey? What are the reviews that you have seen so far?
I can't remember specifically. I had a quick kind of glance through them because it's an older person's show, so my mum wants to watch it. So I was like, so I had a quick look and I said, well, yeah, first episode's here, but they don't seem to like it. But again, that seems to be a younger kind of more critical thing. So I think it'll be interesting to see if the older audience who it's maybe intended for, who the Downton fans actually do take to it. So I mean, it's only been 1 episode out so far, and you can't really judge a show a lot of the times on a pilot. I mean, everyone does, but you shouldn't. A pilot has to set up.
But I do think in today's age, though, if a pilot doesn't grip you straight away, because there's just so much content out there.
You keep saying, David, this is you.
No, but
this is you and a younger generation.
Like I said last week, we are victims of content at the moment because there is just so much being pumped at us. If that content doesn't grab you in the first episode, why should you continue to invest your time in something when there's something else already coming out around the corner or that's already been out that you want to watch?
Storytelling is not about here's everything you want that's awesome straight away. You have to build stories, man.
It's their job to grasp you in the first episode.
Not every show.
They know it's their job to grasp you in the first episode. And if it doesn't grasp you, you're going to lose audience. And then if you lose audience, then you're going to get cancelled. Bam, simple as that.
Do you know how many great shows, if people had that attitude everywhere, would not exist?
Oh, yeah,
not
100%.
Every show knocks it out of the park. Look at just one of my favourite sitcoms of all time.
I think it's more relevant now than it has ever been.
Well, yeah, because of the amount of competition between services.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But I'm saying something like The Gilded Age, right? It's aimed at a slightly older audience, right? Arguably, you can say Bridgerton is aimed at the younger audience now for that type of show. So The Gilded Age is aimed at an older audience. So they don't want fast and crazy and hook you in and all that. they want, I think, slower storytelling. I find as I get older, a slower, better paced, it doesn't have to be fast and blah, 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 blah. I mean, a good example of what you've been talking about, Ashley, and kind of backs up both our points on it, was Yellow Jackets, right? Season 1, the very first episode of Yellow Jackets has this montage at the start that shows you an absolute ton of crazy shit. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm hooked. And then it goes back and slowly builds up again. So it kind of gives you that. And that's all the show.
Yeah, but it had the hook. That's what you're saying.
I mean, but we still haven't seen the cannibalism in it yet, and so we're gonna have to. They've lied. They've held off on the cannibalism, David. I'm gonna have to wait till season 2 for that. Yep, Gilded Age gets a 1 for me. Like I said, if I was stuck on a desert island with a hard drive and obviously unlimited energy supply, and so I could watch stuff on a hard drive, that doesn't really work as an analogy. But yeah, I'd watch it if there was literally nothing else around, just because Carrie Coon's in it and she's an excellent actress. If you've ever seen The Leftovers. So, next up on HBO, we have, and David, I know we're going to both like this one, House of the Dragon. So, this is based on George R.R. Martin's potted history book of the Targaryens, Fire and Blood. Now, as we've discussed on previous pods, I found this book extremely boring and predictable. The book literally, because it's a history book, it literally follows as, there was a good Targaryen for a bit, then there was a bad Targaryen. There were some good ones, then there were some bad ones. And there were some dragons, and there was some incest, and then there was a good Targaryen and there was a bad one. And it just got so... Yeah, exactly. It just got boring, man. I was like, I don't care about any of these characters. And I would say also not in its favour, in the show now as well, is the relative inexperience of its co-creator and showrunner, a guy called Ryan Condal. And a quick Google literally shows he co-wrote the bad Hercules film from 2014 and another bad film with The Rock in it, Rampage. And
Rampage wasn't bad. That was the one with the big monkey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was quite entertaining. That was entertaining.
Yeah, it was quite entertaining.
No, I'm going to say that was entertaining.
But I wouldn't want the guy who did Rampage producing Game of Thrones, man. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
and anyway,
enough.
he did a sci-fi show with the guy from Lost called Colony. Had the guy who played Sawyer in it, Josh Holloway, and that got cancelled fairly after a couple of seasons. So it's not exactly a stunning body of work so far. But now the good news. Because the book is only average and a potted history, like it's not a narrative book really in any way. It's like you said, and this is what we argued about before. It's a history book, but because it's that, I don't think you're going to have the same level of fan outrage at changes and the way it's going to be adapted.
No, yeah,
so
yeah, also, 100%. It's not there.
They don't have to stick closely to the source material. They're not going to be jumping every chapter down the dynasty of the Targaryens. They're going to pick probably one chapter and expand on those characters. And as we know, the casting for this is amazing. And for the show, you got Paddy Considine as King Viserys Targaryen. You got Matt Smith, surely on villainous form, as his younger brother, Daemon Targaryen. You got Emma Darcy as Viserys' firstborn daughter.
I'm going to stop you right there with the villain thing. As with Game of Thrones, there are no villains, Neil. Wow, everybody's a villain. There's grey characters. That's Martin's thing. There's no black and white. Everybody's grey.
I'd argue that Samwell Tarly was a good guy, was a hero.
Yeah, but he was. Yeah.
He didn't do anything bad, did he? I mean, he stole a girl, but you know. And also, you've got
you might have got me there. I'm trying to think what Samwell Tarly's done. That was a dig.
He didn't. He saved the baby. He went off and learned his thing. He came back with knowledge, and then he killed a White Walker as well, Sam the Slayer. That's why Samwell Tarly will save us from the moon, David, in Moonfall. That's why.
You know what? You might have got me there. I'm trying to think from the books what he did. That was bad.
Samwell Tarly is literally Samwise Gamgee of Game of Thrones, isn't he?
Right, he's George R.R. Martin in the book. It's him. It's George Martin. He just wrote himself into his own story.
Okay, cool. Can I get back to the cast now, please, David?
No, you can't. Okay, yeah, go on. Sorry.
Okay, so also you've got Sound of Metal's Olivia Cooke, and she's awesome in everything. Remember her in Ready Player One as well? She was the main female lead in that. She's very good, very, very good. So it's going to be good to see her in an ongoing show.
With the she plays with the birthmark on her face.
Yeah, that's the
one.
Yes,
yeah.
I don't know if that's actually a real birthmark.
No, it's not. I think that was just for the show. Yeah. No, it's for the film.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
But she plays Alicent Hightower, daughter of Rhys Evans, is who's in it. Sir Otto Hightower. So she's obviously going to get married to one of them, and that's your main cast. And do you know what? With actors of such caliber, this is going to be down to the scriptwriters to make sure that the actors get the material they deserve. Because, I mean, this is it now. This is like, if this show does well, all the Game of Thrones other spin-offs keep coming and going, don't they? if this bombs, they're going to be like, ooh, we might know. I think the people have had enough dragons and incest for a while. So
you can. It's quite a shame. It's quite both exciting and a shame if you've read the book Fire and Blood, because you basically know all the major plot points that are going to happen in this show.
Not really. I've forgotten, David. I've literally forgotten because the book was that bad.
You didn't read it, did you?
I read about half of it and got bored.
You might not have got there then, because this is starts about halfway through the story.
Oh, okay. Then I probably. Well, that's fine. I'm not going to read it then.
Okay.
I'll just enjoy the show.
But yeah, so you can like if you that inclined, you can quickly Google all the main plot points that this is most likely going to hit along its seasonal.
Why would you do that, David?
Why would you exactly? I don't know. What
kind of crazy arsehole would do that?
People are out there, but how they pad it out and how they get to certain plot points and everything like that's going to be really exciting, because in the book, how it's done is they separate between different viewpoints. No. Because history, like our history, it's warped by the people that are telling it, right? So
history is written by the victors.
Exactly, and that's how this history is presented to us. So there's a lot of incorrect and
incest,
fictional versions of events that are based as factual, and there's a lot that they can do with this show, and it's that in itself is quite interesting. And the Iron Throne looks fucking awesome. It's more like how the Iron Throne's meant to look.
And I'm sorry, mate, but as I say as well, Paddy Considine is one of the finest working actors today. He's amazing in everything he's in. He's always the best thing he's in. And he does do a lot of smaller indie stuff, but to have him in this is going to be really good, man. It's like King Viserys. He's going to be awesome, man.
Yeah. He's gonna be pissed. And I really like Matt. What's his name? Not Matt Damon.
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith. That's it.
Matt Smith.
It's because I was looking at Damon on your script, and I was just like, when and I combined Matt and Damon together. Yeah.
Matt Damon.
I really like Matt Smith as well, and I think
he was very good in Last Night in Soho, which is
a beautiful blend of actors. I think the show is going to be a success, and I think it is going to bring back the fans that were so pissed off and heartbroken. I'm one of them, from the Game of Thrones finale. I think this will do it. I think this will bring it back. I think this will bring back the fandom. It will glue everybody back together again. The infighting will stop, and we'll be at peace at last.
Yeah, totally unlike the world of Game of Thrones, David.
Happen. Yeah, watching the world burn, watching Westeros burn around us.
Okay, so with that sunny and uplifting end of your rants there, I am going to give this 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
I cannot wait to see this.
5 out of 5. 5 out of 5.
So our first time we've agreed.
Yes, 100%.
And next up, HBO are turning a film from a book into a TV show. Cause why? Reasons. So this next one is The Time Traveler's Wife, based on all. Actually, I know the reasons. It's money.
Yeah, because why? Reasons.
Reasons. Yeah. So it's The Time Traveler's Wife, based on Audrey Niffenberger's book, and HBO are adapting this for a 6-episode series. Now, I don't get the point. It was already a film in 2009 with Rachel McAdams and Eric Bana, and it was perfectly fine and good. Now, this version is going to star Theo James and the wildling herself, Rose Leslie, as the leads. But I don't honestly know what more we're going to get from a 6-hour adaptation that the absolutely fine original film did. So, I don't see the reason. It's not like there's going to be multiple seasons of this show spread out. It's a one and done.
I understand. I quite enjoyed the film. With Rachel McAdams, and I think that from I can remember the film quite well actually, even though I haven't watched it in years. It's stuck with me, which is a good sign. But I think there is a lot that you can do with it, right? Because you could just follow her timeline, and him's just sort of cropping up all the way through it. So you're just going to follow her life from beginning to end, and different time periods of the gentleman is going to turn up. I've forgotten his name. With Theo James, he's a very, very good-looking man. Theo James, he is a hunky boy. Rose Leslie's not a bad person as well. I think if I was Kit Harington, though, I'd be jealous.
Kit Harington obviously thought so, didn't he? Yeah. I'm on season 2 of Game of Thrones at the minute on my rewatch, and I've literally just got to the thing where she first said, "You know nothing, Jon Snow," for the first time, and I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I was like, he doesn't. He knows jack and shit.
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to the show. Like subtly looking forward to it. I think it's
subtly. Yeah, it's not a big. I mean, like the cast.
It might not be a show that I watch day one, but it will be a show that I will watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5 because I'm sure it's going to be perfectly fine, but I just don't see the point of adapting something that's already been done about 10 years. Christ, I say only 10 years, only 11 years ago now. No, 12 years ago. Jesus, good God, where has time gone? We're so old.
I'm gonna give
what's
it
your rating, David?
3 or 4? No, 3. 3.5.
Okay.
3.5.
You can't give middle points. It's a straight number. Well, David, all I can say is, do you want to taste it?
Yes. I'm going to say yes.
That is the right answer, because that is the theme song from Peacemaker. Now, this is John Cena's Suicide Squad character, the deadly but dim Peacemaker. And he returns in this movie-adjacent spin-off for 8 episodes, and they've all been written by Suicide Squad director James Gunn, with Gunn actually directing most of the episodes as well. Now, given the end of the Suicide Squad, it was going to be very interesting to see how they make Peacemaker. Are they going to make him into a hero? Is he going to still be a villain? Is he going to be a bit of both? Is he going to be the anti-hero? Also joining from the actual film are Steve Gee's John Economos and Jennifer Holland's snarky NSA agent Amelia Harcourt. Bit of a, how do I say, family casting there, because she is actually James Gunn's girlfriend. So he's like, yeah, I'll cast you as the lead female actress in my new show, of course. But she is, from what we've heard,
hey man, if you want to get, that's the best way of continuing to get profit. Like if you want to just continuous work, find a writer director out there, and you're good to go. Just get in there with them, marry them. It works across the board. You can see it across Hollywood. Man, that's the easiest way of finding work, having consistent work coming in for you. For men and women, like okay, don't make this a gender thing, Neil. It's
I
knew where your head was going.
To be fair. Oh good God. Anyway, joining the cast as well as Peacemaker's dad is the T-1000. Yep, Robert Patrick is playing Peacemaker's dad. So, what can we expect from the show, David? Well, we can expect lots of violence, swearing, more violence, more swearing, and I've also seen the opening title sequence online. And it is easily, I'm going to say, it's one of the best all-time opening title sequences of any show ever. It's just that good. But the problem we have, David, it's not available in the UK yet. And no one seems to know when. And I looked on James Gunn's Twitter, and everyone has just given him shit every day. When's it going to be in the UK? When's it going to be in this country? When's it going to be in that country?
Does he have come on, HBO. any say in that at all? He probably does not.
At some point. He's just like, I know all the fans are disappointed, and we're working on it as much as we can. I reckon once it's all aired in America, we'll get it in a dump over here somewhere, like in one day. But I mean, it's weird because I was listening to another podcast the other day, and they were saying this weird HBO Max, HBO deal, Plus deal thing. And because I just thought, if it's HBO, it's going to be on Sky Atlantic over here. But shows that are specifically created for HBO Max, which is their streaming service, which is separate from their TV service, it's a completely different deal, and Sky have to pay a shitload more money for, which is generally why we haven't got Peacemaker yet.
Yeah. I've seen this. I've seen the dance sequence. Yeah, at the beginning. Yeah, that's.
It's so good, man. I just love that it introduces all the characters we're going to see in the show in the opening title sequence. I imagine as when we get around and finally seeing the fucking show over here, you're going to be like, oh, that's that character. Oh, that's that character. I mean, who's the small child dressed as a ninja that he lifts onto his shoulder at the end? Eagly, the eagle, just looks amazing, man. Like, I showed the trailer to my old man because he's going to watch it when it comes out. And he's like, how did I get a real eagle to... Oh, Dad, it's CGI. But it's that well... But it's well done.
I like it. Yeah. It's,
So, I mean, all I have to say on Peacemaker, David, is it's a 5 out of 5 on excitement for me. And give us it now. Give it to us now, you utter bastards.
I like that John Cena's, he's playing this character, which is just the polar opposite of his... Well, not the polar opposite. Quite opposite to his
wrestling persona.
Yes, yeah, his wrestling, which is the goody two shoes. Oh, I'm gonna save the day. I'm John Cena.
He was a modern day Hulk Hogan, wasn't he? He never turned heel.
He was shit.
And then his first character is a heel.
Yeah, I love
his
it.
first sort of major.
It's clearly he's like, fuck's sake, I've played this character for how many years? I need to branch out, man. I need to spread my wings.
And like everyone's probably like, I remember on the Suicide Squad, it's just like, his bag of dicks monologue in Suicide Squad was amazing. I will kill every man, woman, and child.
There's probably a lot
freedom.
of unscripted scenes for Johnson, because his whole thing is unscripted, right? That's his thing, that he just can blurge these amazing speeches.
I've actually read, with Peacemaker, what they do on the end credits of every episode to make sure that everyone stays through and watches the credits. They put outtakes on the end of every episode. So it's not like continuous scenes, but it's alternate lines. So exactly what you've just said, it's what they're putting in the show as well, from what I've heard. So I can't wait to see that, man. So yeah, 5 out of 5 on the Peacemaker, man. Give us peace or give us death.
4 out of 5.
That's terrible, David. I think
I'm very indecisive with my scores.
Yeah, I heard
that was because the 3.5 was on the fence, and this one was a long 4 whilst I was thinking about it, and I'm sticking with the 4.
Okay. Well, David, the next show up on HBO, potentially one of the biggest shows of the year, is based on one of the best video games ever made that I've never played because I'm an Xbox man, and it is The Last of Us, starring Mando himself, Pedro Pascal playing Joel, and Lyanna Mormont, head of Bear Island, Bella Ramsey as Ellie. Now, this is developed by the team behind Chernobyl, so immediately you know it's going to have quality the whole way through it. But David, without giving away any spoilers to someone, me, who has never played the game, why could this be one of the shows of the year?
Well, it's interesting. Well, is it? I don't know if this is going to be a retelling of the game, or whether it's going to be, it's going to just obviously take characters from the game, but throw it into a new story.
From what I've read, it is a retelling of the first game.
Right. Well, it's a tried and tested theory, right? It's a tried and tested.
I know nothing about it. Pitch it to me. What's it about?
Okay.
Without spoilers.
Okay. It's essentially it's a zombie apocalypse, right? That's what it is. We're in a zombie apocalypse. There's a zombie outbreak. They're not zombies, but for the argument's sake, we'll just call them zombies. There's a zombie outbreak, and my man Joel finds Ellie, who is, or Ellie finds Joel. I can't remember which bloody way around it is, and she is immune. And they have to get Ellie to an organisation called the Fireflies. And it is basically that journey of trying to get Ellie to the Fireflies, who will be able to create a cure from her immunity.
All right, so it's a fairly sort of tried and tested, simple story in a way, isn't it?
It is your
Zombie
hunt for the
outbreak.
wilder people. It is your it's your father's son. It's your father-child dynamic.
It's your Mando. So essentially, Pedro Pascal's just replacing Baby Yoda for Baby Lyanna Mormont.
Yes, but Baby Lyanna Mormont will be a lot more have a lot more lines than Baby Yoda.
She probably won't drink as much bone broth soup either.
No, he loved that shit, man. He ate that up. But this is the game is phenomenal. It really is. It's
always rated as one of the best games of all time, isn't
the
it?
story as well is very good, which is why I'm a bit like, well, what can the TV show actually add? I mean, it can show us, because with the game you're following these two characters the entire way through, and whereas with the show, I guess we can try and spread out a little bit, and we can follow other characters and see what they're up to and stuff. So,
again, I said I know next to nothing about it. I haven't even looked at the other casting news or anything about it. I just knew, because I want to go into this like completely blank on it, because all I need to know is it's got Pedro Pascal in it, and the man can do no wrong in a minute. And Bella Ramsey has been brilliant in the only things I've seen her in. She was brilliant in Game of Thrones. She was really good in his Dark Materials as well, which she turned up in season 2 of that. And the fact you've got the team behind Chernobyl producing it, and HBO, I mean,
yes,
that's just quality.
Chernobyl was freaking like the surprise of the year, wasn't it? It was
one of the shows of the decade, probably.
But with this though, it's going to be a very emotionally driven series.
Is it a bit like The Road?
Yes,
the Cormac McCarthy one. But it's not as depressing as The Road, though, is it?
It can be. It can be.
Oh, okay.
It can be. It's very emotionally driven, but and you know, like The Walking Dead from earlier seasons, where you've got your moments of quick decision making. That has, you know, it's that sort of it's a zombie apocalypse. That's what you're in, isn't it? Except it's not a zombie apocalypse. I think it is. You know, well, it's one of them. It is a zombie apocalypse for argument's sake. Let's just call it a zombie.
Okay.
Apocalypse.
I feel like you've actually somehow managed to dull my enthusiasm for this, David. I'm
sorry.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? No. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 still, because I've got faith in Mando and faith in the producers of Chernobyl. And 5 out of 5. David?
It's a 4 out of 5 for me. You should be excited for it though. It's gonna if they nail it like they should, it has the potential to be something really fucking amazing.
Yeah. So I suppose your 4 is because you know the source material and you want it done right. I don't know the source material, so I've got nothing to compare against. I'm just excited.
It's The Last of Us is that type of game that you can just replay when at the beginning of it. Oh, fucking hell.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is a big spoiler at the beginning, but fucking hell, it's so good.
But stop! Don't spoil it then. Don't say a word.
I'm not gonna. I'm just saying it's good.
So, from zombie apocalypse and death to our flag means death. Now, it's Tucker and Murray as pirates, David. It's a HBO comedy about an English aristocrat in Barbados, and he gives it all up to be a pirate when he runs into Blackbeard. It's also got Hodor in it as a character called Wee John Feeney, and it's also got Leslie Jones from Saturday Night Live, Rory Kinnear, Ewan Bremner, and Fred Armisen. Now, I mean, dude, it's a Taika Waititi pirate comedy, and finally, the excellent Rhys Darby. He was Murray in Flight of the Conchords. He was their manager. He was the guy in the Jumanji films.
I know the one. No, I know the one. Yeah, he's the bloke that turns up and he's just like, "Welcome to Jumanji." Exactly.
And he's turned up in quite a few. What did I see him in? Oh, he was in a Daniel Radcliffe film, Guns Akimbo, playing the homeless guy in the street. Gives him an old. He's very whenever he's on screen, man. He's like Hunt for Wilder People. Remember that? He's like the guy. Have you got a jetpack? No. Have you? No. You know, he's brilliant, man. And it's so good to see him finally get a richly deserved lead role. And do you know what? The pirate genre needs some rehabilitation after the laws of diminishing returns after the last couple of Pirates of the Caribbean films, man. So, but it's comedy, David, and it's half hour and it's Tucker. So I reckon you're going to give this a...
Yeah.
I'm going to predict
honest,
you're going to give it...
I didn't... Oh, go on. What's your prediction, first of all?
I reckon you're going to give this a 3.
Okay, fair enough. To be honest, I didn't know much about this show before you brought it up to me and brought it to my attention. And I watched.
Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah. I watched the trailer for it, and the trailer had me laughing in just what I was seeing. And then I saw Hodor, and I was just like, "Oh man, yeah. Christian Nahn. He's not got he's got his tattoo on his eye that he hasn't got to CGI out all the time because he's got this stupid stars over his eyebrow." And you know what? It works with the pirate. Perfect. I'm looking forward to seeing Christian Nahn in something else other than going Hodor.
At least he doesn't have to. Hopefully, he doesn't have to walk around with his willy out in this one as well.
Yeah, I don't think that was his actual willy. That was. Come on, man. Come on.
I wasn't paying close enough attention.
Good for him. Good for him if it was. Good for you, Christian Nahn, if that was your member. But no, okay. 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5.
2.
Actually, you know what? I'll give it the 3. I'll give it. I was only changed it to the 2 just so it wasn't what you said.
Brilliant. Aha. So it's not easy to manipulate at all, there, David. Have a guess. Obviously, 5 out of 5. Don't have a guess.
Well, it's Taika Waititi, mate. Everyone knows you got a hard one for him. No, that's okay. It's okay. He does, although he's playing Blackbeard, which is my biggest because I'm not a big fan of him as an actor. I prefer.
Mate, the dude played Hitler. Come on.
I know, but
and made him likeable. Anyway, next up, we're off to Disney Plus, and well, probably the most un-Disney Plus show you'd ever expect to see on Disney Plus, which drops today, David.
Yes, comes
when
out
we record
today.
this.
Yeah. February 2nd.
And it is Pam and Tommy, featuring a frankly unrecognisable Lily James playing Pamela Anderson.
If you I didn't even believe it was Lily James. That's how...
The makeup job is spot on it. I mean, just give them all the awards for that right now. And she's starring alongside the Winter Soldier himself, Sebastian Stan, as Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee. So, do you know what? It's so funny seeing Stan and the amount of times he's been in films where he's had to be serious. So I reckon he's going to have a blast playing this role because Tommy Lee's an absolute nutcase. But, I mean, And it just, as I said at the start, this is an 8-part comedy about the theft and release of an infamous sex tape. That does not sound like something you're going to see. You should expect to see on Disney Plus. I know it's on Star.
Think Disney would be like, you know what we should do?
Yeah.
There was that sex tape everyone was fucking crazy about. You know what? Next up, they're going to do Kim Kardashian's blowjob tape, aren't they?
That'd be the second series, wouldn't it? Yeah.
But Kim Kardashian's sex.
It does also star Seth Rogen and Nick Overman. So Ron Swanson himself, and the two of them play the duo who discover the tape and decide to try and profit from it. Now, as this has dropped today, as we're recording, all the reviews have been praising James and Stan's performances, and the show's been getting generally quite good reviews across the board. However, David, making a show that highlights a woman's exploitation for money without the involvement of that woman herself, Pamela Anderson, who didn't want anything to do with the show, because it obviously trivialised it and made it into a comedy, arguably is the show just as exploitative as the original theft of the tape and making money from it.
That I didn't realise that she wasn't happy with this.
Yeah, Tommy Lee, obviously, because he's a bit of a dick, loved it. You know, he's like, yeah, I've got no problem with it.
Yeah, no, I didn't realise. No, that is a very good point that you make. Is it ethically okay to do that?
I can't claim that. There was Terry White, a former editor of Empire. She wrote a review, and literally her review was, it's a very good show, but aren't they doing exactly what the bad guys in the show are doing by making a show about a woman without her involvement, about her being exploited without her involvement, and then doing exactly the same thing again? I mean, from what I've read and come up to it, bar the characters she plays a lot on screen, Pamela Anderson was actually a very, very smart woman.
Did she get like any kind of money for this? Any kind of like royalties because it's her story? I don't know how it works.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, anyone could write a book about it, I suppose, couldn't they? And make up what they wanted. And I don't think she probably does. No, because if she did,
I don't know. Yeah,
she probably doesn't make anything from it because otherwise she'd obviously be involved in the process, I'd imagine. And yeah, so I'm giving this a 3 out of 5 because I'm going to watch it. That is. But I think, it's got that kind of icky, aren't you guys doing exactly the same thing that the original people who stole the tape did?
Yeah, I can see, it does taint it a little bit.
It does taint it.
I'm a 2 out of 5. I was a 2 out of 5 anyway. It's one of those that I probably will watch eventually, but it's not going to be one that's the day one release like today. Yeah. I'm not going to watch it tonight. I'll get around to it.
But we are moving from something that is morally questionable to something that is a great leap forward in representation for the MCU, and that is Miss Marvel. And Miss Marvel is finally coming to the screen, and it's going to star Iman Vellani as a Muslim American teenager called Kamala Khan, and she's a Captain America fangirl who discovers she has newfound shape-shifting powers that lead to her fighting crime. Now, this is due in mid-2022, and we're going to have 6 episodes that, again, will be used largely as a setup to introduce her to the MCU and to get us to our Captain Marvel sequel in 2023, which is now called The Marvels, which will feature, obviously, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. Also, it's going to feature Teyonah Parris' Monica Rambeau from WandaVision, who she got her powers there. And obviously, it's going to bring Kamala Khan into it. So largely, like I say, this show is going to be set up for Captain Marvel 2 and bring in Kamala Khan into the MCU big scale. And the comic was really, really well received, man. Like, it did a great job of championing positive Muslim representation in the comics. And so bringing this character into the larger MCU is just a great step forward for representation for Muslims overall, I'd imagine.
Like with what Eternals did as well. Making everybody feel like a superhero. Making everybody a superhero. It's a beautiful thing. Because if you think of like, what were the Avengers? The original Avengers, that famous shot of the camera circling around them.
Yeah.
Where's the representation there, Neil?
Well, there wasn't.
If you're looking at that?
Well, it's like what everyone said in the discourse around Black Panther, how many kids sort of went, that's me, I'd like to be a superhero on screen, because they've never had that before.
Yeah, I want to be
great.
Black Panther one day.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's amazing. That's what it should be. And it annoys me when people say, oh, but it's just representation for the sake of representation. It is and it isn't, right? This character was obviously written and created so you can have a positive representation. And you know what? Going forward, I mean, I don't know that much about the character, and again, I want to stay free from whatever it is until I watch the show. But it almost sounds like she could almost be like the female counterpart to Spider-Man. Because you think Spider-Man's the only male teenage superhero in the MCU. Now you've got a female teenage superhero in it. So I guarantee they're going to cross paths at some point in it. I'm all for it. I can't wait.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be very expensive. I can't imagine Tom Holland's got a cheap rate these days.
I reckon they keep Tom Holland chained up in the basement at Marvel Disney Towers, man. And feed him Mickey's leftover cheese. No, Tom, you will stop growing. You'll be Spider Boy forever. So I'm giving Miss Marvel 4 out of 5. Very excited to see this.
I'm about a 3 out of 5. I've not been very excited to see a lot of things that we've mentioned, but I'm more excited for this than I am the next one.
Oh, yes. And next up on the MCU TV adaptations, it's She-Hulk, starring Tatiana Maslany as the Hulk's cousin, Jennifer Walters, who is a lawyer who takes cases involving superhuman crimes. It also is Mark Ruffalo is also.
Surely there can't be that many cases.
No, well, I suppose it's
gonna... superhuman. Like, what are the cases? How is she? Like, what is that job?
I don't know, David, because I haven't seen the show yet. It's not going to be like Invincible, is it? So it's got Mark Ruffalo, and again, he's probably only going to appear as Bruce Banner, because money. Tim Roth's going to be in it as well, confirmed to appear as Abomination, who we last saw getting beaten up by Wong and Shang-Chi. And it's got
Jamelia Jamil Abomination come back. Sorry.
What? And it's got Jamelia Jamil.
Do you want to finish that?
I mean, it's always good to finish the sentence, yes. And it's got Jamelia Jamil in it, appearing as Titania, and she's likely the villain for season 1. Now, again, don't really know that much about She-Hulk, and I assume we're not going to get too many full Hulk appearances on screen due to cost. And this sounds really weird and not great, because it sounds a bit like a lawyer procedural, and it's billed as a comedy drama. I mean, someone even said, oh yeah, it's like Ally McBeal, but with She-Hulk. That sounds a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I don't see how this works. I mean, the
think
tones...
it'd be cool to see Abomination come back into it, and not just completely sweep under the rug the original Hulk film from the MCU.
He wasn't in the original Hulk film. He was in the second one. He wasn't in the one with Ang Lee, was he? With Eric Banner.
That's not an MCU one. That's not an MCU. The Incredible Hulk is the one I'm on about, not
okay.
Hulk. With,
but it's not the first one.
Not with Eric Banner, no. With Edward Norton.
Ed Norton, yeah. Anyway, I mean, I wonder, do you reckon we'll see Charlie Cox, Mac Murdock turn up in it? He's a lawyer as well.
Yeah, that makes it. If he's a lawyer, and they're sort of merging that,
and I
that
wonder,
does make sense.
You could bring Jessica Jones back into it, because apparently there's rumours now that they are going to bring everyone back from those shows and incorporate them into the MCU, all except, and you know who it's going to be? Yeah, Iron Fist. Yes, because why would you? Like Barking Basement Arrow, man. And Arrow wasn't
what
even the
actually
greatest.
happened? I never watched it.
I never watched it, man. I watched 2 or 3 episodes, thought it was shit, stopped watching it. And then when I watched The Defenders, I was really disappointed because it all revolved around him. I was like, oh, this is terrible. You've literally built this up to be around the worst character in the show. But, I mean, there are rumours as well that Joe Bernathal's Punisher could be back. And look, dude murders people left, right and centre. So he's going to need a lawyer. But,
he was fucking amazing.
He was amazing, man. I mean,
he's awesome in everything.
Yeah, he's a brilliant actor, man. I really don't know what to expect with this show, though. But the only thing I can say it's got going for it is I haven't seen her in anything else except Orphan Black. And the main actress, Tatiana Maslany, she is awesome, man. So she fully deserves a big role in the MCU, and now she's got it. But I just don't like the idea. I don't really know anything about it. So I'm giving it a smack bang in the middle, 3 out of 5. And you, David?
Okay, I think this is suffering from a lack of marketing. What marketing has this had? And it's due this year.
Yeah, but they don't market them heavily until they're due to be released these days. That's the way it is.
Well, I feel like this could do with something to build up to it, because we have nothing really at the moment. Even the poster isn't something that you're interested in. It's literally just the words She-Hulk.
David, it's still in post-production. It's the last show that's coming out this year, right? The first, and in fact, so quickly, give me your rating on it.
2.
2, right. And the first show that's coming out this year from the MCU extended things is Moon Knight, which is due quite soon.
Moon Knight? Is that coming out, is it? Oh, blimey.
Blimey, governor. Yeah, it is.
Let's see what's going on with Moonlight, shall we?
Oh, my God. Well, so yeah, another show high on our radar is Oscar Isaac joining the MCU as Mark Spector / Moon Knight, a former US Marine with a dissociative identity disorder who gets his powers from the Egyptian moon god Khonshu. So I'm thinking it's like an MCU version of Split, or like Doom Patrol's Jane, with her multiple personalities that all have different powers and all that. and like each of Moon Knight's identities having different characteristics. I don't really know again, but you got Egyptian Palestinian actress May Calamay and Ethan Hawke in it. The Hawk, it's the year of the Hawk, man, with the Northman and this and a load of other stuff that he's in that we've already mentioned.
He's in everything.
He's in everything. It's Hawk's year, man. And Hawke is rumoured to be the show's villain. Now, this show is set for 6 episodes, and the recent trailer, we have to talk about that. It does look very different from a Marvel show, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel bad. I feel bad for the earlier joke, because I was just jumping on the bad.
No, mate. Right. Have you seen Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke? I've done a trailer reaction video to that trailer, and even they are taking the piss out of the accent. So it's definitely deliberate.
Okay.
So it's definitely a deliberate choice. And like everyone
Why
said,
would you deliberately do a bad British accent?
Well, no. Here's the argument, right? It's not a bad accent. It's just Frank Spencer from.
Dick Van Dyke started trending on Twitter when this came out.
Yeah. I'm not surprised
because of his accent in Mary Poppins, and it made me scared because I thought Dick Van Dyke had died.
Whenever you see an actor trend on Twitter, you think they've either
died,
yeah. or they've been exposed as a paedophile or sex pest. So trending on Twitter is not generally a good thing if you're an actor, unless you've got a big film come out and it's very good and everyone's going, "Oh, it's great and we love you." But it's one of 3 things.
But I was happy to find out that it was just because of his accent, his infamous British accent.
Well, again, mate, I mean,
God
I don't
bless you, Dick.
God bless Dick, yeah. So yeah, like I say, I don't really know too much about this because I want to stay fresh for it. But the vibe I got from the trailer was this could be a bit more like the MCU's version of Legion. Remember the Dan Stevens show, which were Noah Hawley from Fargo? And that was weird, man. That was weird and freaky. And this looks like it's kind of got the same vibe to it. And I'm there for that. So I'm giving this a 4
I like how the MCU is stretching into pretty much every genre of television that they can get.
And that's what they need to do, man.
Sitcoms, rom-com, you've got your action adventure, you've got your holiday special, you've got this one which is more of a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Your Miss Marvel, which you mentioned, was
not
more
Miss
of a
Marvel.
So it's quite interesting that they're blending into all these different genres. They're putting their fingers in lots of different pies.
Yeah, Mickey loves his pie and money. Mickey loves his money.
Mickey is so good at making money. I wish I was good as Mickey.
Yeah, well, So what's your rating for Moon Knight then, man?
Moon Knight, I'm going to give a 3.
A 3, okay.
A 3.
Middle of the road for all of them there.
Middle of the road, yeah.
Anyway, from the MCU, we're still staying with Disney, but we are on to Star Wars. And Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yep, we get the return of Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. Hayden Christensen? What's he done since?
Remember him?
Remember him? The poor kid who wasn't very good, had to deal with George Lucas' bad, terrible dialogue and direction, and then essentially had his career ended, and he ruined everyone's lives, that poor actor. Despite being really good.
This is a big revive for him. Because I don't think it was his fault. I think I didn't dislike his. I mean, it wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't.
Hayden Christensen is coming back as a young Darth Vader, and the show is apparently only going to be set 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. So, in a galaxy far, far away from George Lucas's terrible dialogue and shitty direction, we finally have a chance for justice to be done to these characters. And it's going to be Mandalorian director Deborah Chow taking the reins for all 6 episodes. Now, again, I'm torn on this. I'm torn on this, though, right? Because I think ultimately where we know the path of these characters is going to take, so we know where the story is going to end. So how much filling in do we really need? Where Mando works is we haven't seen him in anything else before, bar his show, so we don't know how his story plays out. That said, I'm hopeful we're going to kind of get a reappraisal of Christensen's acting abilities as a slightly older Darth Vader. And I think, Ewan McGregor wouldn't sign on for it.
It'd be a younger Darth Vader.
Younger Darth. Well, he's older now, isn't he? He's still a young Darth Vader, but he's older than the last time we saw him.
So 10 years. So Luke would be 10 years old, right? And Obi-Wan Kenobi's on Tatooine,
just living in a cave,
looking after him, like checking in every now and then, just being a bit weird, just seeing how he's doing, watching him through a telescope, that kind of thing.
So he's like the weird next door neighbour guy from Family Guy.
Yeah, why did he do that and not look after Leia? Was he just like...
Because Leia got sent off to someone else. Leia got sent off... They split him up, remember? She got sent off to Alderaan. She got the better deal, let's be honest. Oh, yeah, you're going to be a princess. Oh, cool. Luke gets stuck on a farm.
Where he's got blue milk.
No, he didn't have blue milk then. That's when he got stuck in there in old Luke, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah, but he'd have had blue milk when he was younger.
No, I
Come on,
doubt
man.
they.
You can't be 10 years old and not have blue milk.
Look, all I'm saying is he displayed serial killer tendencies because he would go around in his dirt bike shooting rats. And I'm just saying, man, any man who kills small animals. But no, I'm really looking forward to this, man. I think this is going to be a really, McGregor and Christensen would not have come back if they didn't have a good idea in place. And I've always maintained, what's the worst thing about Star Wars? George Lucas, even though he created it. So getting these characters away from George Lucas's shitty direction and shitty dialogue, and a director who we know can do really great stuff, which we've seen on The Mandalorian, I'm really hopeful for this, man. Despite us knowing exactly where it's going to go. So this is going to be, I'm changing my rating from the script. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. I'm more stoked. I've stoked myself up talking about it.
Okay, fair. Oh, there. Okay, don't get too stirred. Don't get too excited there, Neil. I know what happens when you get too excited. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm happy. I'm excited for it.
Was you going to give it a 3, then you boosted it to a 4 because I boosted mine to a 5?
I did. Yeah. You stoked me up. Okay, yeah, I did.
Jedi mind trick. The Force is strong in this one. That's all I'm saying. And from the Force being strong to, well, the least anticipated Star Wars show ever. Perhaps more so than the Book of Boba Fett, because let's be honest, before we all realised Boba Fett was a bit shit, this was the show that we were like, why are they making this? Why? Why? It just, no. Yep, I'm talking about Andor. Yep, we've got Diego Luna reprising his Rogue One character.
If you haven't seen Rogue
One,
you'd just be like, who?
Who?
Right? Who's that?
I mean, it's a show about a character that we know dies in Rogue One, so already it's off to a bad start for me. The only thing it's got going for it, David, that I can see is it's got Baron Harkonnen in it. Yep, Stellan Skarsgård's in it, so he's got to be a villain. I mean, he's probably just turn up in half his Harkonnen outfit and go, yep, I'm the bad guy. Give me the lines. Right, I'm going to go back to my trailer now and watch more Norse porn. Forrest Whitaker's returning as Saw Gerrera. I mean, Forrest Whitaker, man, he's one of these actors where he's either absolutely brilliant or absolutely terrible, sometimes in the same film. I mean, Last King of Scotland, he was amazing. He was brilliant in the TV show The Shield when he came into that in season 5. But, okay, quick sidebar. I love one of my all-time favourite cheesy 90s sci-fi films is Species, the one with the really hot girl who got naked and turned into a lizard. And they're tracking her down because she has to go and mate with people to, keep, spreading eggs around. But it was a terribly bad early 90s sci-fi action film. And he plays in it, Forrest Whitaker, an empath. And so he gives great lines. He walks into this stall in a nightclub where someone's been ripped in half and their spine's just sticking out of the toilet. And do you know what he says, David? He looks at all the other characters and he goes, something bad happened here. And they're like, oh yeah, because you're an empath. Fuck's sake, man, open your eyes. Later on, she runs away from them and he's like, she's scared.
Is Forrest Whitaker in this?
Forrest Whitaker is in Species, man, 100%.
No. Is he in
Andor? Yes.
In Andor?
Apparently so, according to my research.
He's not on the IMDb page.
Well, I didn't look at the IMDb page.
That's my research. That's all I've got.
Other sources are available. So, do you know what, though? As we can say, David, we all thought Hawkeye was going to be shit as well, and that ended up being quite a delight. So, hey, you never know. It's always, as they say on the Empire podcast, it's always Christmas Eve when it comes to films. I don't have any idea why they would make this show about characters no one cares about. But hey, it's a Star Wars show, right? It could be good.
It's the start of the rebellion, right? That's basically what this is. It's going to show the start of the rebellion, and and anything about rebellions is usually quite an exciting thing to watch. You know, that spark, that flame.
We'll see, David. More importantly,
that spark that lights the fire of a rebellion.
Yeah, but that was a new trilogy, not the old trilogy. And this was old. This was pre-old trilogy, so God knows, man. Anyway, more importantly, do you think it's going to be better than the Book of Boba Fett?
I haven't watched any of the Book of Boba Fett yet, so I don't know.
Okay,
that's hard for me to say.
I'm going to give this a 2, and it gets a 2 because Forrest Whitaker and Stellan Skarsgård. For you, I'm going to guess a 2 as well.
You would be correct. Good job.
I could become a mentalist, man, can I? One of those people who just predicts what people are going to say. So we're moving on to Seth MacFarlane's real Star Trek show. So if you're not a fan of Star Trek Discovery with its whoosh and it's kind of different aesthetic and the swearing and the blood and the violence and all that kind of stuff, because it doesn't feel like true Star Trek to you, then go watch the Orville. Because when this show first came out, everyone was like, oh, it's going to be like Family Guy in space. And you know what? They kind of went that direction when the show first started. It was kind of...
And you know what? It kind of is.
No. It kind of started that way. Because I think that's probably what... I reckon that's what Seth MacFarlane pitched the network. It's like, yep, it's Family Guy in space. Everyone's like, brilliant, we love it. It's Star Trek with Family Guy stuff in it. Great, we love it.
Everybody loved the Star Wars Family Guy episodes. Let's just do that, but with us.
Yeah.
With live actors.
And so that's what they did. But as the show goes on, it become obvious MacFarlane's a real Star Trek The Next Generation superfan, man. Because the look and the feel of the show, it just feels exactly like you're watching Star Trek The Next Generation. And it moved away from, like, you know, you get to some episodes and they dealt with some really heavy subjects in it. You had, like, and that's what the best Star Trek does, right? Star Trek in its day, and it's what makes me laugh when everyone goes on about Star Trek Discovery. Oh, it's so woke Trek and all this crap. You go back to, like, the early 90s with Star Trek Next Generation, and they were doing episodes about trans rights, they were doing episodes about racism. You know, Star Trek has always been that show that tackled the big subjects and, like, the big things. And that's what I loved about it. That's what everyone loves about Star Trek, you know. And the Orville becomes that show. They have there's I forget the characters' names, but there's two alien crew members, and there's only males in their race, and they lay eggs, and they have a child, and it's born with female anatomy, and one of them wants to get rid of it, and the other one's like, no, we're going to raise it. And I was like, oh, they're doing a whole thing about, you know, they're doing that in this show that like a few episodes ago had farting slime in it, you know. And it gets and they start building out all the other characters really well.
So what you're saying is it's a comedy, but with
I'm saying it started as a sort of as a Star Trek piss take, and it's become probably a really good OG version of Star Trek. And in season 2, David, how much of the Orville have you seen?
Absolutely zero.
Right.
Nothing at all.
It's on Disney Plus now, the first 2 seasons. But I know you, as you always say, if your show doesn't hook you in the first one, you might laugh a bit though in the first one. So if it hooks you, and then because they kind of do episode of the week things as a way to like they used to do, that we're gonna put 2 characters on a crash planet this episode. We're gonna, you know, they do all the classic Star Trek tropes, like we're gonna investigate this anomaly. Oh, weird stuff's happened. But what I
do quite like Seth MacFarlane.
Then I watch it, mate. It's really good. It starts off.
I mean, I even liked his 100 Ways to Die in the West, which was just terrible, and I still, for some reason, enjoyed that.
It's funny you say that because in season 1 you have guest stars such as Liam Neeson and Charlize Theron turning up in the show. But what they do in season 2, they introduce a brilliant villain, right? And this villain is as good as the Borg in Star Trek. It's like this is this show's version of the Borg, and he's like, oh, you're watching and go, oh, yeah, it's a normal episode, and wait a minute, there's mass genocide and murder they've just discovered. It's like a really shocking moment in the show, man. And like I said, season 2 really, really kind of pushed forward, and you also get some classic Star Trek actors popping up in it. Councillor Troy, Marina Sirtis, she rocks up in it. The Doctor from Voyager, Robert Picardo, he turns up in it, and even Jonathan Frakes, Riker himself, directs some of the episodes. Because so they really got that aesthetic of, you know, Next Generation. And the much delayed season 3 drops in Hulu in the States next month. So fucking hell, Disney Plus, when do we get it over here, you bastards? Hopefully, probably.
Fuck you, Mickey.
June. Fuck you, Mickey. So I will say. So I'm giving this a 5 out of 5, David, because I got excited remembering about how good it is. So you haven't seen any of it.
A 1 just because I haven't seen it. Yeah, it would be silly not to.
But it gets a 1 because you kind of like some Seth MacFarlane stuff. You are the one man who paid in the cinema to see A Million Ways to Die in the West.
I don't know. I don't think I paid to see it in the cinema.
Right. Well, we are moving.
Maybe rented it.
Well, David, we're going to move at warp speed from Disney Plus to the BBC and Peaky Blinders 6th and final season. David, have you ever watched Peaky Blinders?
Okay, so Peaky Blinders is that show that I really wanted to get into and enjoy, and I maybe watched about 5 episodes. Oh yeah, around 5 episodes of the first season.
Okay.
And it weren't working for me. I weren't enjoying it, so I stopped.
Right, you're a horrible person, David. Well, this is the end of the show.
I wish I did continue it though, because everyone says it's amazing.
Mate, it's got all the actors in it. All the actors in it. I mean, let me tell you.
Everyone that's ever acted has
all
been
the
in
actors.
Peaky Blinders.
So look, this is the end of the Shelby saga, and the sad thing about it is, it's the last on-screen performances of Helen McCrory, who sadly passed away after they'd filmed the season 6. And again, this is a massively anticipated show. Like, season 1, it started off with Sam Neill and Annabelle Wallis, and I still love to this day, David, the use of the White Stripes song, I Think I Smell a Rat, as she's like the informer, and she walks into the bar in season 1. And it's such a brilliant song. But what's even cooler is, they don't actually have the lyrics in it. They just have the riff from the song. So if you know that song, you're like, that is, I still remember to this day, that's amazing sound editing and just a perfect song choice. And the music is a big part of Peaky Blinders, you know, obviously with Nick Cave's Red Right Hand as the opening music to the show. But season 1 was pretty much exclusively, if I remember rightly, Nick Cave music and the White Stripes. That was just it. And it's like, and you're thinking, this is like set in like, you know, the early 1900s. Why have they got this music? But it works. It works so well. I was totally there for it. But the cast in this show has massively expanded as it goes throughout the years. You know, people come and go and get murdered horribly. And you got Joe Cole in it, playing the youngest third brother behind the psychotic Arthur Shelby, who's played brilliantly by Paul Anderson. And of course, the star of the series, Cillian Murphy's Tommy Shelby. Now, and again, you really do. I think you're really going to feel the sad loss of Helen McCrory, because she was the matriarch of the Shelby clan, Polly, and it's going to be really harsh without her in this final series, or however they've worked around it. But the creators of the show have actually confirmed they're making a movie of Peaky Blinders as well. So once this series finishes, they're moving on to do a movie as well. But David, this series, right? I go on about the actors, right? That was just the early seasons. And on the casting as well. Tom Hardy turns up in it as stealing all the scenes as another gangster called Alfie Solomon. Last season, David, they added Kingsley Benadir, Sam Claflin, and fucking Anya Taylor-Joy in it as well. And she was really underused in it. I was like, oh, she's in Peaky Blinders, they're going to give her loads to do. And she didn't really do a lot. So I'm hoping her arc is obviously a lot bigger for season 6. And speaking of season 6, David, that we're hearing is going to drop this month on the BBC. Guess what? Who's one of the other big actors at the minute? British actor. He's in everything all the time. Everyone loves him. He's doing the best
Benedict Cumberbatch.
No, it's not fucking Benedict Cumberbatch.
He's a British actor who's doing everything at the moment.
No, he's only doing.
Okay,
that.
Tom Holland. He's everywhere.
No, it is.
Okay.
Stephen Graham.
Okay.
Yeah. So 5 out of 5 on this, David. I guess you're going to go for a 2 because you started it and then just didn't get into it, right?
Well, a 1 because started it and didn't get into it, and I'm not going to
get into it again, David. It's
something that I'm not going to watch is going to get a 1, but and it's only not going to watch it because I've not watched any of it leading up to it. But it is a sad thing because
you are a sad
thing. It's meant to be really good, and its fans are really passionate about it.
Yeah, and they're going to find where you live and murder you in your sleep, Peaky Blinders style.
Yeah.
I mean,
do people whack people in Peaky Blinders? Is that a thing?
No, that's an American thing from gangster movies.
Okay.
This was set in Birmingham. It's whatever the Brummie equivalent is of getting whacked.
I think this is actually. I think scenes from Peaky Blinders are filmed not far from where where I work have propped up a new development.
Oh, cool. That's where they're going to bury the bodies in the show then. So Peaky Blinders, 5 out of 5, 1 out of 5. David, you're a monster. Next up, this is a show that I put on the list, and it's actually come and gone, and we've actually seen. I think you've seen it. I'll check in a minute. And that is The Tourist, because it came out on the 1st of January, and the whole series dropped on the iPlayer. Now, this stars Jamie Dornan as a man being chased by a large truck through the Aussie outback. So it's dual, right? Well, no, because we've actually seen the whole show now, and it aired on the iPlayer. So it shouldn't really be in the preview, but it was a very good show. And I've written this, so we're going to hear about it. And yeah, the whole show dropped on New Year's Day. And you know what? It was a quirky black comic delight. Think Memento, but in Australia, with an Irish guy in the lead. Written by the Coen brothers. It wasn't written by the Coen brothers, but it feels like it was written by the Coen brothers. And it's got tons of really
that in itself is a big thing. That's
exactly.
A good compliment.
Yeah. And there's tons of really good eccentric Aussie actors in it. Not least Danielle McDonald's excellent trainee copper, Helen, who just gets caught up in all of Dornan's characters' escapades with people trying to kill him. It's also got Line of Duty's Chloe in it, Shalom Brune Franklin, an young Aussie actress. I did not know she was an Aussie when she was in Line of Duty. It was only when I was researching this, and I was like, oh, she is actually an Aussie. And she turns up as a girl called Lucy, who knows a little bit more than she's letting on. And crucially, she gets to do a hell of a lot more in this than she did in Line of Duty. This was an unexpected delight early in the year, David. So, if we were going excitement ratings, I would have given it a 3 out of 5 before. But after seeing it, I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Surely it's a 1 because you've seen it already, so you can't be excited about it.
Look, I've been working on this list for a while. This was on the long list ages ago. Have you seen it, though, David?
No, I haven't. In fact, the next, 3 things that we're going to talk about, I haven't seen.
Well, this is going to be very quick then. So, next up, the responder. Martin Freeman as a cop on the edge of a breakdown dealing with...
the responder's not in this script.
I know, I added it.
You added that.
Because I've seen it and it's amazing.
Right. What else have you not told me, Neil? What else have you added?
Oh, so many things, David. Huh? So many things.
Okay, well, the responder, I've seen the first episode.
Oh, brilliant. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to watch this. We're going to continue with it.
I mean, there's only 4 more to go, right?
I know, right. But yeah, we are going to watch it. I watched the first episode on Monday night, and then Tuesday night, and then on Wednesday night. Wait, it's Wednesday today.
Yes, it is, David.
On Monday night and on Tuesday night, there's a whole drag race thing. So that's my evening. I've got to be fair. I'm going to have to watch Drag Race. It's okay.
So the responder, David. Martin Freeman as a cop on the edge of a breakdown dealing with personal and professional issues on a week of nights in the seedier side of Liverpool. Now, as I said, this is already all aired on the iPlayer, and I don't know if you know this, David, but we're going to be doing an upcoming special on this, a spoiler special delving into the show with friend of the pod, crime author and former copper himself, Charlie Gallagher.
Yes, I did know this.
How? I just wrote it on the script. Oh, I mentioned it in a WhatsApp.
No, you've mentioned it to me before. Yeah. We've talked about it.
So Charlie's...
It'd be quite interesting to hear what he says about it, actually. Because Natasha
brilliant.
watched the first episode and she was just like, you wouldn't have a copper going out on his own. That was literally the first thing she said watching it. She was like, a copper wouldn't go out.
So yeah, the interesting thing with this is, like you said, your partner works for the police, and Charlie is an ex-copper as well, and the show was written by an ex-copper as well. And I did have a brief chat with Charlie about the show because he's watching it now. He's a few episodes in. But I'm going to save that, David, for when he's on and we have the pod. All I will say is it's probably the best acting performance of Freeman's career. He nails a note-perfect Scouse accent, and this show...
That's a big call, because Freeman's done some very good stuff.
No, this is end of year.
He's very underrated as an actor. He's very subtle.
I feel like he's not, though, because he's so good in so much now. I mean, Fargo, for me, launched him when he had that brilliant Minnesotan accent in Fargo. And then in this, his Scouse accent is... my old man's a Scouse accent.
It's very good, yeah.
The accent is note-perfect. And I think this is already making a claim, mate, to be one of the best shows of the year list. It's the anti-Line of Duty, and that's a good thing. So, on excitement level, I was going to give this probably a 3 out of 5. I just thought it was going to be a standard BBC police thing. And then I've watched it, and me and my old man, we watched it, I think 3 nights back-to-back, all of it. Now, it's easy. I think we put this out on Insta as well. 10 out of 10, one of the shows of the year already.
Yeah, you rated it before the fucking thing ended.
I know, well, I'd seen 4 and I'd seen
couldn't believe it, Neil. I couldn't believe it, Neil.
Put me under pressure.
When I found out that the film hadn't even finished, and then we put out a rating. What if it had flopped?
It's a TV show.
What if it had flopped?
Then I would have had egg on my face, but I didn't, and it was amazing. So, suck eggs, I guess, that aren't on my face. And we go from the anti-Line of Duty to the next show starring Line of Duty's Vicky McClure and produced by Line of Duty creator Jed Mercurio's company, Trigge Point. Now, on paper, this sounds like the Hurt Locker.
This isn't on the script either, Neil.
I know.
Oh, wait, no, it is. It is on the script.
Your powers of deduction are Sherlockian at the minute, David.
No, it was on the script. It was.
Amazing.
I'm sorry.
So, this sounds like the Hurt Locker, but set in London, as McCullough stars a bomb squad export with a brilliantly named... Do you know what her character name is, David? I mean, it doesn't
Is it McBottomson?
No, that's terrible. It's Lana Washington. Yeah.
I prefer McBottomson.
Yeah, I've heard that. So, anyway, she gets caught up as a bomb squad expert in a summer of terror in London. But, is it going to be like Line of Duty, or is it going to be more like a damp squib which Mercurio's company produced last year, which we was all excited about and watched, and it was Pants Vigil. Well, the first episode, I think we're up to episode 2 now, and it started airing. It's on every Sunday night on ITV at 9, so it's in that big spot. Well, the first episode, mate, it was all action, but there were some staggeringly bad decisions in it, right? Like, if you're a bomb disposal expert, you wouldn't flick a bloody light switch on, would you? And when the room wasn't clear. And she does this, and I think that immediately the show lost a lot of people right there. Like, well, she's a fucking idiot. That's not good. She's your lead character. And the piss taking on Twitter was brilliant after that, man. But the whole episode was just them trying to defuse this one bomb, and then obviously a bomb. But episode 2 was a lot better in that it gave us some character development and actual characters rather than just all action based around one event. A funny one for me is seeing there's an actor in it called Warren Brown, and he's also in The Responder, which was going out at the same time. And he plays a massive shithead in The Responder. And I'm like, oh, look, there's that massive shithead from The Responder. And he's playing yet another copper in a show on the other network at exactly the same time. But you know what? I think as this progresses, it could develop into a good show. Like a fairly good show, but it's like Ryman Premier League compared to Champions League when you watch them both alongside each other, I think. Yeah, so I'm giving this a 3 out of 5 in a minute because I've started watching it and it's okay, but it's just not got the quality and the acting of Freeman in The Responder.
Well, take a breath there, Neil. Take a breath. There was a lot of reading. That was, give yourself a pat on the back.
On the script, mate, that was
what
like 2 lines.
What did you give it a
3 out of 5.
Yeah, I know. I'm reading the script and I was just like, bloody hell, this keeps going. You 3 out of 5. Yeah. I'm on a 1 out of 5. Yeah, but man, dinner is like on the table.
I know. Well, you have to wait. We're almost there. One more. So, what are you giving that? Are you going to give it a? What are you giving it?
Can we just skip Gangs of London? Because does anyone care?
Well, David, right here. I think at this point in the pod, as we're short on time, any ones you haven't seen, just go. Yeah, okay, sounds good. So
that's gangs of like. What even like? Does anyone care about that?
Right.
Really?
Mate, yeah. Right, okay. So Gangs of London was Sky's single best original show they've ever made. It's from the director of The Raid, mate. Garth Evans.
Okay, go on then.
And right, at the end of season 1, you had a massive shock with certain characters being, offed. And essentially, season 2 is going to be starting.
I'm sorry. So
I'm not making that noise
being what, Neil? Sorry, I missed that the first time. What was it?
Certain characters being offed. And this leads to all various factions leading into all-out war. Now, what made season 1 good, mate? Look, Guy Ritchie ruined gangster films for a lot of people, didn't he? British gangster stuff got ruined by Guy Ritchie because they're all geezers, isn't they? Yeah, all that shit. Well, what you had in this show...
You're not a Guy Ritchie fan?
Fucking hate him. He's pants.
Okay.
Never have been.
I'm not a big Guy Ritchie fan either. I just thought you'd really like him.
Why? Because he's an absolute...
I don't know. I thought you'd be a big fan, like Snatch and Lock,
Hate
Stock.
his style. I liked Snatch and Lock, Stock, but as I've said, and we'll go into this on another one sometime, I think the success of those films was down to their producer. Who was their producer, David? Matthew Vaughn. Who's the better filmmaker, Guy Ritchie or Matthew Vaughn? Well, look at their filmographies. It's clearly Matthew Vaughn. So I think a large chunk of the success of Lock, Stock and Snatch can be attributed to Vaughn other than Ritchie. Because Ritchie's just generally made shit since. With the odd film being okay, and that's still... And I hate
the King Arthur
style.
film he did, whilst the style is very jarring, it's not the worst film.
Yes, it is. I'd forgot that existed till you reminded me. Anyway, I'm not talking about Guy fucking Ritchie because he's a knob. I'm going to talk Gangs of London, directed by Garth Evans, who's one of the best action directors in the world. And he's also, this season, he's co-directing some episodes, taking it in turns, with horror master Corin Hardy, who I believe he did The Nun. So season 1 was easily one of the most violent shows I think I've ever seen, David. It was like The Punisher up to about 20 in certain scenes. It was very violent. And it really made a star out of Soapy Dirasu's Elliot Finch. But for me, what made the show is that it truly showed the diversity of the different criminal gangs in modern-day London. So they weren't just all East End Cockney white boys. They were Albanians. They were Turks. They were, all the different nationalities that, modern-day crime lords in London you expect to be. And it's really good. And like I said, it had some of the most bone-crunching action scenes. And there's, I think, episode 5, there's a siege on a small house in Wales, and it's one of the best siege things ever committed to TV. And it's high praise. But again, what would you expect from the director of The Raid? 5 out of 5 on this one, mate. Literally, season 1 started with someone getting set on fire and thrown off a tower block in Canary Wharf.
Okay, you've actually got me quite interested to watch the first season of this.
Cole Meany's in it, Chief O'Brien's in it, Michelle Farley's in it, Catelyn Stark from Game of Thrones. So it's got some good actors in it, man. And like I say, Sophie Dirasu's character in it, Elliot Finch, he's an amazing. The bar fight scene in the first episode is truly just awesome. So Yeah, I think if you haven't seen it, we won't worry about your rating stuff you haven't seen or speculating. But I'd recommend it heavily, man. Next up,
1 out of 10.
Fuck you.
5, whatever we're doing it out of.
Yeah, the numbers have lost all meaning to you now. Next up, David, are you going to put on your Halo? Yes, the long awaited adaptation.
That doesn't make sense.
I know. I'm trying to be fast.
Am I going to put on my Halo? What?
Anyway, the long awaited...
Halo is a weapon, Neil.
I know. Anyway, I know, because I just finished the new game a few weeks back. Anyway, this is the long-awaited adaptation of the renowned video game franchise, and it's finally coming to the small screen after being stuck in development hell for years as the future of humanity battles an alien force called the Covenant. Well, 2 big questions. 1, will the show be big enough to make people subscribe to yet another streaming service in Paramount Plus? Not for me. And 2, with the main character, the Master Chief, never removing his helmet, will the show make him remove his helmet at any point? I mean, dude, the Mandalorian got away with it, but will Halo? Will the writing team of Kyle Killian and Steve Kane, they haven't got a large amount of credits to the name, but one of the directors of the show is Otto Bathurst, who has directed Black Mirror, Peaky Blinders, and his Dark Materials. Cast-wise, do you know what? After the Master Chief, it's being played by Pablo Schreiber from American Gods. He played Mad Sweeney. It's got Natasha McElhone in it and Bokeem Woodbine from Fargo in it. Other than that, I've not heard of anyone else in the cast. The trailer just dropped last week, and you know what? It looked okay, but it looked also fairly generic. I mean...
Yeah. It didn't look like anything... Exactly, like the game. When you first see the game and you play the game and you enter into it, it is this big fucking wow moment. Do you remember that first scene of stepping out of this crashed ship and you go into the crashed escape pod or whatever it is, and then you're out and you're on the Halo and you have that like
yeah. Why didn't they have that music moment in it? And then why didn't the trailer have the actual the action scene music? Dun 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 dun. Why didn't they have that in it? And do you know what shitty music they used in the trailer? A terrible remix of fucking Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight. That angers me greatly, David, because I can't stand Phil Collins. I hate the man on a personal level.
I don't know why you don't like Phil Collins, but I understand why it was, because the Halo has got one of the most iconic fucking sounds.
Yeah.
Just in general, right? Like it's not even amongst. Like, it's up there with fucking the McDonald's advert for me. You know, like, it's... Well, you know what I mean. You hear that, da-da-da-da-da, and you immediately want a McDonald's.
In my nightmares, David. In my nightmares.
It's the power of marketing.
There. It's that old... That McDonald's jingle is so old. I worked there when they first came out with
it. There you go. The power of marketing, man.
And I was we don't love it, David. We don't.
This has, like, that for gamers, right? It's got that... You know, like that whole thing at the beginning when you're just waiting in the title screen and you could just sit there and listen to it because it's so awe-inspiring. Why the fuck wouldn't you utilize that in the trailer? I don't know. Maybe they're waiting to hold it out for some reason, whatever that is. But yeah, I agree with you. It did look very generic. My friends have said that they're scared that it's going to be like a retreading of the game, like the first game, be just going through that. But I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's going to be a very similar telling. I think they're going to have the same plot points. Like he's going to go on to a Halo. There's going to be the Flood, and there's going to be the Arbiter. I think the Arbiter is going to be involved earlier on than it was in the games. But I think the Halo, I think there's a lot of character development that they can pad out involving the Master Chief. Involving Cortana and their relationship, which is already done quite well in the games.
Well, Cortana's being played by the actual actress from the game.
Of Spartans, yes, and she is very, very good.
Well, I'm going smack down the middle on Halo, mate. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. I'm interested to see it, but do you know, it would have got a 4 if it hadn't used fucking Phil Collins in the trailer. So 3 out of 5 for me.
I'm quite looking forward to it. It's a 4.5.
A rarity.
Like
Next up on Paramount Plus, we've got Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and this is going to follow Anson Mount's Discovery character, Christopher Pike, and his adventures on the Enterprise before the days of Kirk. Although we are bringing along Ethan Peck's young Spock, and I mean, this could be a fun show, given that it's probably going to give massive fan service to fans of the original series. It's also got a young actress called Celia Rose Gooding in it, and she's playing young Cadet Uhura. So you're going to get all the OG vibes will be strong with this one. Do you know what? I'm actually more interested in seeing this than I am Discovery at the moment. So 3 out of 5 on this one, David.
1 out of 5. Star Trek's one of those. I've never been a Star Trek. I've never been a Trekker. Nah, not. 1 out of 5.
How excited are you for Lord of the Rings?
I am really excited for it. The whole title reveal sequence that we got, where we got the title reveal, Lord of the Rings: The Ring of Power.
The Rings of Power.
The Rings of Power. Sorry.
Is it ring or?
It looked so beautiful, didn't it? As we're going through,
I'm very hopeful on this,
all
man.
The fires going, everything's just so.
Yeah, I mean, this is easily after they burned us with the terrible adaptation of The Wheel of Time. Amazon, you've got to get this right. This is their biggest gamble, though, because it cost season 1 just alone cost $327 million to produce, and that's just for the first 8 episodes.
The most expensive TV show ever created. And if you think about the TV shows out there, man, it's basically a movie, but they're putting it as a TV show.
The budgets are going up, man. But this season 1 is going to tackle the fabled second age of Middle Earth's history, and clearly the budget was spent on production design and location, as opposed to casting, because most of the cast, again, are relatively unknown. Robert Aramayo, I don't know, is playing a character called Beldar.
I quite like that it's relatively unknown.
Yeah.
Because who from the original Lord of the Rings cast did you know beforehand? Aside from Gandalf and Cate Blanchett.
Well, yeah, a fair few of them. Well, it's hard to remember now, man. It was fucking years ago.
Viggo Mortensen? Did we know of Viggo Mortensen?
Yeah, he'd done stuff. But
yeah,
anyway, this Robert Aramayo guy, he's playing a guy called Beldor, who's rumoured to be one of the leads. And that actor, he played the young Eddard Stark in Game of Thrones. So, little link there.
Yes.
Probably the biggest name actress in it, actually, is Morfydd Clark, Saint Maud herself, and she's playing the younger version of Cate Blanchett's Galadriel. Other notable additions to the cast, Lenny Henry is in this again. And Lenny Henry is also appearing in The Witcher Blood Origin, which is just give Lenny Henry all the fantasy roles at the minute, I guess. And, of course, you've also got the very excellent...
Lenny Henry knows where the money's at.
Does now. He's like, get me a wig and put me in a fantasy films.
It's such a peculiar person to cast in stuff. It's... of all the people to be cast in stuff.
And I guess playing a villainous role in it, because he always usually plays them, you got the always excellent Peter Mullen's going to be in it. As we say, we know very little about this. We've seen next to nothing of this yet, but expectations must be sky high for this one. I think we both agree on this, David. It's going to be a 5 out of 5, right?
Yep, 5 out of 5. I will say that I was a bit disappointed in the narration that we got for the ring for the title reveal. But then again, if you're going to follow Cate Blanchett's beginning of the Lord of the Rings, which is just iconic, you're not going to be able to do it.
Very hard to follow Cate Blanchett in anything, man, because she's amazing. So next up on Amazon. Now, this one has literally only been added to the list, David, because I wrote a short story years ago that had the exact same setup. And it was about a group of workers on a remote oil rig that get trapped there by a mysterious force, and then things go wrong, and they turn on each other. And I never finished the story, David. I never, finished writing it down. Well, someone's made that show now, and they've been as generically predisposed as I was with the title, and also called it The Rig. And the only reason really to watch this is to see, one, how do they end it? If your
idea was any good.
If my idea was any good. And if they actually keep with the same ending. And it's starring Steve Arnott himself. It's Martin Constant from Line of Duty. So, I'm there for The Rig. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5.
Do you think someone just found that you're scribbled somewhere, or found an old hard drive and this script on your computer somewhere, and they're like, oh my god, this is amazing. You just passed it to someone, and then that's how it got made.
My overall rating on this will range from 5 out of 5 because it's a brilliant meal, or minus a million because they've taken my idea and just done it badly. I'm not sure if I'm going to be annoyed whether they've done it badly or they've done it better. I'm not sure yet. I don't know how I'm going to react to it, David. So yeah, I'm a 3 out of 5 on that. Oh, also dropping this Friday on Amazon, Reacher.
Oh yeah, Reacher with an actual Jack Reacher. He's a tank.
Yeah, it's Alan Ritchson, who from Titans and Blue Mountain State, and a really, really, really bad, terrible film called Ghosts of War that I saw on Netflix last year that I watched going, this is going to be the new Jack Reacher, and he was barely in the film and it was terrible. But yeah, that's it's based on Lee Child's first book about the human killing machine, Jack Reacher, and the book is The Killing Floor, and they're taking the idea at the minute of doing 1 book per season and 8 episodes per season. Now, this is going to be dropping weekly on Amazon from this Friday, the 4th of February, when we recorded this. After negative reception to Cruise's portrayal of Reacher, I mean, do you know what? The first film was okay. with who was it? It was who's the classic German film director who Werner Herzog, Werner Herzog playing the villain in season 1 was just a bizarre. In the first film was brilliant, but the second, but what made that first film half decent was it was directed by Chris McQuarrie, and it's there where he kind of established his relationship with Tom Cruise, and they moved on to making the Mission Impossible films now. But the second Reacher film is absolutely dogshit terrible, maybe one of Cruise's worst films he's ever made, along with the fucking Mummy remake, which is also abysmal. But finally, we get an actor in Alan Mission that looks the part of Reacher. And do you know what? Richardson, he's not exactly a household name, and he does lead a cast of relative unknowns. Well, early reviews have come out today, David, and they've been mixed to good. Pilot TV podcast that I always listen to, all three of the hosts on there loved it. So I'm very excited about this now and looking forward to it. So I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. Are you going to watch Reacher?
Okay. I probably will, but not anytime soon. So two for
David, the next 2 shows are on Netflix, and I have no interest in watching any of them, but I think you watch both of them. So as briefly as you can.
Okay.
Bridgerton. Wait, let me say that. So okay. Bridgerton. Stop saying okay, or I'm going to murder you across the internet. Bridgerton season 2. Now I didn't watch season 1 because we just coined it as a downturn with more shagging, and the star of the show, Renee Jean Page, left. So will people still watch it?
Yes, because it's sexy people in fashionable clothings in the olden times, and there's nudity.
Brilliant.
People will watch
Okay,
it.
excellent.
Julia Quinn's books, there's a lot to go off. There's still a lot to go off even without him coming in. Julia Quinn, she's wrote like 8 books.
So out of 5, David, out of 5.
In this 4.
Okay.
I really liked first season, mate. You should watch it. It's really good looking people having sex. It's amazing.
That's what porn's for, David. 1. And also on Netflix, another show I'm never going to watch, The Crown, season 5. But this year, you have Dominic West and Elizabeth Debicki joining as a new Charles and Diana. David, convince me to watch The Crown.
The Crown's phenomenal, Neil. You need to watch it. The performances that we got from the previous 2 people that played Charles and Diana was fucking insane. So these 2, Dominic West and Elizabeth Debicki, have got a lot to live up to in The Crown season 5 because, like I said, the performances are on a high, and it is the quality that we go through with the series and the stories. We've done another time jump with the Queen, so we're at the older life in her life. Oh.
Your time is up. So 4, yeah, 1. Next up, Stranger Things Season 4. After what seems like actual years, because it is, we finally get Season 4 of one of Netflix's biggest original hits, and the teaser trailer showed Eleven and Will living in California, looking forward to spring break. And of course, we know that's not going to go to plan.
California love.
Horrific. And speaking of horrific, horror legend Robert Englund, starring in this as well as the mysterious Victor Creel. And we have flashbacks of his family living in Hawkins in 1959. Now, we've been told the first real trailer for this is actually going to drop this week as well, David. So, like everyone else, we're waiting for this. Now, like everyone, I love the show, but how do they keep the show going when the kids are growing up and leaving Hawkins? Well, we're going to find out in this season, because that's exactly what they're doing. And I mean, how much more can we have variations on the theme, right? With something breaking through from the upside down, traumatizing everyone, they band together, they kill it, and that's it. So
yeah, I think we're going to get more adult themes in this one. There's going to be more of a coming of age tale than the last 3.
You mean there's going to be... Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I don't think there'll be any bound chicken wow wows, but I think there'll be a lot more mature themes.
Mature themes. Rated M for mature themes. So I think it's going to be interesting to see where they take the story next. But what do you reckon? I think one more season after this and just tie it off? Tie it off with a bow.
Yeah, I think it'll go season 5 and then that'll be it.
Me too.
I think that'll be a good run. I think the actors have outgrown it. I think the actors would probably want to leave the show
They all want
well
to be in the MCU now, don't they?
Well, everybody does, doesn't it? It's where the money's at.
Yeah, so 4 out of 5 for me on this.
5 out of 5 for me, Stranger Things season 4. I really like Stranger Things, man. I loved it.
Okay.
Can we quickly explain why we're having to rush through stuff?
Well, yeah, because we're running out of time.
So everybody understands why we're rushing through.
We are running out of time.
We're running out of time. Which is what did we say at the beginning of the post, Neil, that we wouldn't run out of time?
Well, technically, we said we'd be under 2 hours. Hey? We said it was going to be under 2 hours, and we're at an hour 40.
When we're rushing through it, and we're having to rushing through it now because we spent bloody ages talking about, I don't know,
stuff. Can't even remember. It's all blended into one. It's all blended, David. Blended. Right, next up on Netflix, Tim Burton is coming to TV to direct Wednesday, an Addams Family spin-off, and it's being written by Smallville's Alfred Gough and Miles Miller. And it's going to star Jenna Ortega as titular Wednesday Addams, and Catherine Zeta-Jones is coming out of retirement after a long time to play a perfectly cast, in my opinion, Morticia Addams. Now, being Tim Burton, this could be something very
That
special.
is a well cast Morticia Addams.
Yeah. This could be...
Although the previous casting was also...
Well, I mean, Angelica Houston.
In the films.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, Angelica Houston. That's thank you.
So this could be something special, or it could be utter tripe. We don't know with you don't know with Tim Burton. You don't know what you get until you open the packet. I'm going down the middle of the road. 3 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
Alrighty.
I'm not a big Addams Family
fan. I'm not just like, I don't know by focusing on her so much. The character Wednesday is going to be...
You know what else I discovered as well? I'd much rather know about like Cousin It. I think he's way more interesting.
Well, yeah, man, because what is Cousin It?
But actually, no, Wednesday's quite interesting. Wednesday's quite interesting.
I mean, it's Wednesday today. I'm not that interested. Right, next up, David. Arguably one of the greatest graphic novels of all time by the legend of the genre, Neil Gaiman. Yep, we're finally getting his long-awaited adaptation on Netflix of The Sandman. Now, indeed, people have been trying to adapt Sandman since 1991. The closest we got was a few years ago when Joseph Gordon-Levitt was trying to get that off the ground, and that all fell apart in 2016. Now, Sandman is a multi-era spinning epic. I mean, at its base level, right? Because how much do you know about the Sandman, David?
Absolutely nothing aside from the trailer.
Okay, so it starts in 1916 when Morpheus, who is kind of like a god, he's one of the seven, this family.
Morpheus is the king. He's the god of dreams. Yeah, that's what Morpheus is.
The god of dreams.
That's quite like literally the
yeah. So he is captured in an occult ritual.
That's why Morpheus is called Morpheus in the Matrix.
Brilliant,
because he's the king of dreams.
Yeah, well, these guys did it first.
Sorry. What is it? Greek mythology? Is it Greek mythology or? It's Greek mythology, I think.
With Sandman.
No, yeah. It's Greek mythology. I'm going to say Greek mythology. That's why Morpheus is king. Yeah, he's the god of dreams. Anyway, continue.
With Sandman, it delves into all classic mythologies, man. I mean, and what happens is, Dream is captured in an occult ritual, and he gets held captive by Charles Dance in the first episode, judging by the trailer. And he gets held captive for 105 years, and then he escapes, and then he has to go about restoring his kingdom. And now Tom Sturridge is starring as a very well-cast Dream/Morpheus, and you've got some brilliant casting here, David. Game of Thrones, Brienne of Tarth, Gwendolyn Christie, she's going to play Lucifer. Yes, the same Lucifer, so bye-bye Tom Ellis and your version of the character, even though it's actually adapted from Lucifer comics, which were a spin-off of the Sandman comics. So she is essentially playing Tom Ellis, if that makes sense. Other casting, just to keep it in the Game of Thrones thing, Tyrion Lannister's there, you got Charles Dance as Roderick Burgess, you got Boyd Holbrook as the evil villain, the Corinthian. If you don't know anything about the show, David, the Corinthian is one sick fuck. He's awesome. You got Asim Chowdhury and Sanjeev Bhaskar, sort of more known for the the BBC and comedy stuff.
Yeah, you're mentioning a lot of religious.
Yeah. Oh, it's very religious.
Like mythological people.
Well, guess who they're playing, David? They're playing Cain and Abel.
Right.
And then in a little bit of a change, I think, from the comics, you've got Jenna Coleman, so Doctor Who. Not her, Doctor Who, from Doctor Who, and she's playing Joanna.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Joanna Constantine. So yes, that's a distant relative of John Constantine, and that's before you also mention you got Stephen Fry, David Hewlett, Jodie Richardson, Patton Oswalt. This show has all the actors, mate. This is one of the most. This is one of the adaptations that because I have read Sandman once the whole way through, and I've been collecting the deluxe edition hardback versions of it now. The collected editions, and they're beautiful and also very expensive. And I've actually got them kept in the plastic still till I actually read them. So 5 out of 5 for me on Sandman, David.
I know this is your passion, and if this is bad, if this isn't good for you, I'm going to be really sad. I hope this is amazing for you. I want this to be big for you.
So what do you reckon? Are you going to see it?
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch it for sure. I'll probably give it a 3 just because I don't know anything about it aside from what you've told me.
Okay, so yeah, Sandman, can't wait. Moving on. Ozark, David. I'm literally catching up with it at the minute. Season 4 has dropped, the first part of Season 4. I think we get 8 episodes this point in the year, and we get 8 episodes later in the year, and it's going to run the end of run through. This is going to be the last season of Ozark. Now, do you watch Ozark? I forget.
I've watched 2 episodes or 3 episodes of the first season, and it is something we'll probably come back to, because I remember looking to Natasha the other day and we're going like, why did we stop watching Ozark? Because it's up on Netflix all of a sudden. And we were kind of like, I don't know, we kind of just stopped watching. And so we will probably go back to it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, mate, it's a natural successor to Breaking Bad. It's that type of show. I suppose the difference in it is, with Ozark, right at the very start of the show, when, you know the basic setup, he's like a money launderer,
yes,
and then he has to launder money.
The first episode where that dude commits suicide or gets killed from...
No, he gets That's the guy that Wendy, the main guy's Marty's wife, is having an affair with, and they throw him, and the guys who are after him throw him out of the window. So yeah, horrible murders all the way through this show, man. It's brutal.
And even in the beginning, when he's like his buddy, and they've both been captured, and he gets shot, and it's just like, oh fucking hell, man, yeah, dangerous place to be living.
Yeah, I mean, all I would say about the show, David, it gets better and better as it goes on. And what this does different than Breaking Bad and better than Breaking Bad is the whole family learns about it immediately, right? It wasn't like, in Breaking Bad where he's hiding it from his son.
We didn't get the I Fucked Ted episode then. You
don't get the I Fucked Ted episode, man. What you get in this is the kids are good. The kids are competent. The kids start helping him out with the business. They all grow into the roles of they need to do this to survive. Otherwise, they're all going to be horribly murdered by a drug cartel. And as the show goes on, man, the MVP of the show for me, though, is the brilliant Julia Garner, who plays Ruth fucking Langmore. She's like the little redneck girl who starts off like robbing hotel rooms, and then her character's progression throughout the series is amazing, man. I mean, this was already a 5 out of 5 on the excitement scale, and because I watch it, my parents love the show as well, so I'm watching it with them, and I've been good. I haven't jumped ahead, so we're slowly devouring 2 new episodes a week at the minute, and tasting them like a fine wine rather than binging them in one go.
I like it. I like the analogy. Yeah, I'm a 1 just because I've not seen the rest of them, so. And
you're a terrible person, and you should get on.
This is up there with the. I feel bad about this more than I feel bad about Peaky Blinders, because I think this might be better than Peaky Blinders. What would you say is better, Peaky Blinders or Ozark?
Ozark. I didn't even have to think about that. Ozark.
Okay.
I mean, Peaky Blinders is very, very good, but Ozark is just it's next level, man. I feel like a lot of critics have been sniffy about it because it's just derivative of Breaking Bad. It's a white middle class family doing crime. Yeah, but it's the family doing it in this one, not just the dad and trying to hide it, which was like half the stuff came from that. The young girl in it who I mentioned, Julia Garner, she has won the Best Supporting Actress Emmy every year this show has been made.
Wow, yeah,
she's that good in it. Her performance is amazing in it, man. She's such a force of nature on the screen. And whenever she opens her mouth, it's just like a foul-mouthed insult that is from some of the most creative writers you'll ever hear and see. She's just, she's awesome.
Man, you've done a good sell. You've done a good sell.
Go on to Ozark. Well, we're coming up to the other section, David. These were shows that are these are kind of shows that are coming back for like following seasons. And you've got The Continental, which is a John Wick spin-off. And it's about the hotel and how the whole kind of, I'm not really describing it very well here, but the problem
just the rules that he has to sort of follow and
the world building of John Wick.
Yeah.
The problem we've got with it, David, is it's got a really relatively unknown showrunner in a guy called Sean Simmons and an absolutely unknown cast, except for guess who's been cast as the main guy in it?
Ethan Hawke.
No, not Ethan. Good shout, Ethan Hawke. No, that's a very good shout, but no, it's Mel Gibson. Oh dear. And I think that's got the show the really wrong kind of attention straight away. And do you know what? I don't really want to see this show because I think demystifying the history of the Continental and the secret society of assassins, is that actually going to improve my enjoyment of John Wick anymore? Or is it actually going to lessen it going forward if they do a shit job of it? So the fact you've got, renowned racist Mel Gibson in it, I'm giving this a 2 out of 5. I would be very surprised if this goes ahead and is a big hit.
Fair enough. I will give it probably about a 2 as well. Yeah, I don't really know much about it, so I feel like it would be silly not to.
I would not be surprised to see this is one of those projects where I go, actually, you know what, we're pulling the plug. It's not going ahead. Next up, you got Umbrella Academy season 3. Now, I enjoyed both seasons of this, right? And I remember being blown away as always by Robert Sheenan and Elliot Page's performance in it. But as expected, do you know what? Bar some time travel shenanigans and going back to the 60s, I can't honestly remember anything else about season 2. I think this is really that definition of, like a Netflix binge show. It comes out, you delve it, you devour it in like 2 days, and it doesn't stick along for afterwards. So I'm giving this a 3. Perfectly
I think
fine.
That's pretty fair. I watched the first season and didn't watch the second season. And I honestly can't remember what happened in the first season, except one of them went to the future and saw that it was the apocalypse and then came back to stop the apocalypse.
And then they all ended up in the past for season 2. And then I think they moved again at the end of season. I mean, it's a perfectly fine show, and I know it's got lots of really devoted fans. So straight down the middle, 3 out of 5. Now, next up,
okay,
David.
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5. Next up, and this just came back to Netflix in the UK, it's Thomas Jefferson fighting Ned Stark on the train. Snowpiercer season 3. Yep, David Diggs and Sean Bean and added Jennifer Connelly. And you know what? I've really grown to like this. It's kind of a slow burn show. But any show with Sean Bean as a villain is all right by me. And it's really built well on the ideas of Bong Joon-ho's original film. And just the cast, brilliant, man. You know, Thomas Jefferson, he's kicking it in the dick in this show. He's awesome. So I'm giving this...
that was a real nice declaration. Welcome to the present. We're running a real nation. Would you like to join us? I'll stay mellow doing whatever the hell it is you do in Monticello.
No time for rapping. 4 out of 5. You've never even watched the show once yet, have you?
I've watched the first season of Snowpiercer, but not the second. So
okay.
2 and 1, somewhere there.
The next show, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 on the excitement scale, and you have to keep it to 20 seconds about how much you love this show, David, because it's going to be Clarkson's Farm. Clarkson's Farm season 2.
Clarkson's Farm. Geralt! I want more Geralt! That's all I need. It's just more Geralt in my life, and he's going to get cows, Neil. He's going to get up to all sorts of shit with cows. It's going to be amazing. Can you just imagine what the sort of shit he's going to get up to with these cows? He's going to be having to milk them.
Time!
He's not going to be able to milk them very well. Oh, okay.
I think you sold it, though, pretty well there, David. I'm quite happy about that.
I think I did quite good, yeah. I think I did quite good.
And we're going to 2 more shows, David. And I saw the trailer for this today. The trailer just dropped, and it is Star Trek Picard Season 2. Have you seen the trailer for this? Have you seen Star Trek Picard Season 1?
It's a Trekkie thing again, man. I'm not a Trekkie.
Okay, well, quickly, this looks like... I'm going to call this John Luke.
Hang on, how comes I got a timer?
Because I wrote
I'm giving you a timer. I've given you... No. I'm looking at a timer now. You've got 30 seconds.
This is John Luke in a space verse of madness, as the trailer shows old favourite John Delancey's Q turning up and telling John Luke Picard that this is the road not taken. So what are we getting? We're going to get an alternate universe timeline storyline this season, with plenty of Sherry Ryan back as 7 and 9, though a worrying large amount of this appears to be on Earth. Also, the big reveal is Whoopi Goldberg's Groening is back, and that probably would have gone down a lot better if this week Whoopi Goldberg hadn't made some ill-adjudged comments about the Holocaust. So I bet the producers Picard are loving that publicity. Picard drops in the States in the first week of March.
Time! Stop! You were right about Whoopi Goldberg, man.
Oh.
That what was she saying, man?
What? I mean...
Whew. I could see where she was thinking, but it was just it's just such a stupid thought.
Right.
Well.
Yeah. So bad Whoopi. So the last show we're going to talk about, David, is, can you guess? Is it on the script? Do you know? Is it on the script?
Is it Vikings Valhalla?
No, it's not. I've been that one off. It's going to be The Boys Season 3. Oh yes.
Oh no, you didn't add that to the script. Okay, yeah. Okay, 20 seconds, Neil. 20 seconds now.
It's The Boys. I'm sorry, no. It's The Boys.
All right. I'll give you 45. The
Boys gets what I get it. One of the best shows of recent years returns for its 3rd series, promises an even more fucked up superhero, skewering madness, and extreme shit that we've never seen before. And I've read all the comics, mate, so I know this season they are tackling the infamous Hero-gasm comic arc. And I just don't even know how they're going to go about getting any of that on screen legally. Anthony Starr's Homelander.
Hero-gasm.
Hero-gasm. Yeah, I'm not telling you anymore. It's
No, I don't want to know anymore. That's okay.
I mean, you're going to see more. Anthony Starr's Homelander continues to be the best evil Superman ever. And each season, if you notice in the Boys verse, they've kind of skewered well-known comic book characters from like DC and Marvel.
Yeah. I know Captain America's coming into it, isn't he? Like with the bloke from Supernatural. I forgot his name.
Jensen Ackles.
Thank you.
And he's playing Soldier Boy, one of the original heroes created by Volt. And of course, I mean, this is like the showrunner of The Boys is his old Supernatural creator, Eric Kripke. But we got to wait till bloody June for it. Utter bastards. Yeah, I can't wait for The Boys, man. Like having no boys last year, that sounds really bad, doesn't it? Having no boys last year.
Yeah, no. Stick with what you said. Having no boys last year it was sad. There was sad. You needed those boys in your life.
I did.
It is fantastic. Homelander is probably the villain of the decade, maybe? Nah,
I don't know about decade. Maybe the last...
Who's in there? Who's in there for the decade? Who's the big villain? Think big villains right now. Go.
Have you seen the teaser trailer for this online, The Boys Season 3?
Yeah, where he's just smiling.
He's just smiling at the camera, and it's got the assistant girl looking absolutely fucking terrified.
Fucking anonymous.
Yeah, and he's just like grinning like a maniac.
No, it's not the assistant girl. It's Starlight.
No, Starlight's next to him, and you see the assistant girl on the other side of the camera looking absolutely terrified.
Oh, I don't remember that. Okay.
Right. So we've done it. We've got 5 minutes left, and that gives us more than enough time to go through...
Run through our top 10s.
Run through our top 10. So, David...
Let's go!
So, David, with your top 10 most anticipated shows of 2022, what do you have at number 10?
Clarkson's Farm.
Clarkson's Farm at 10.
Because cows.
I don't want to... Because cows. My number 10, I have Picard, Season 2, because it's Doctor Strange and Star Trek.
Number 9 is The Last of Us. The Last of Us is going to be an amazing story. If it's anywhere near as good as the games, it's going to be a phenomenal, one of the best shows of the year if it's anywhere near touches what the game managed to do.
Because Chernobyl, people. At number 9, I have Peacemaker. It's got John Cena and 80s heavy metal and a great CGI eagle and the T-1000. That's all I need. That's all I need, David. What's your number 8?
At number 8, I've got The Legend of Vox Machina, which came out. It released the first 3 episodes the other week. It is if you know of Critical Role or D&D, it is Critical Role are the most famous D&D people pretty much ever. They are online. You can watch them on YouTube. And anyway, it's basically the first season that they did made it into an animation. And it is fucking amazing to start with. Cool. The first 2 episodes, brilliant. 30-second episodes, 30-minute episodes, 30-second episodes, bloody hell. And it is funny. It is the Invincible. It is Invincible, but sexier and ruder. Boom. There you go. That's it. Animated D&D show that you should watch.
You're gonna get a yellow card. You're gonna get a yellow card for that because you can't add shows in the final rundown that we haven't mentioned before. I just
did. It's in my top 10. It's not my fault you didn't add it to your script.
You should have added it to the script. You go, oh, by the way, I like to talk about this show and add it in, so that the end of the show doesn't get derailed. I thought it would be funny to add it at the top 10. Yeah, you're
like we did with the last one where I had like 3 films that we didn't mention.
Oh, fucking hell, if you've got more of this shit in this one. So my number 8 is Gangs of London Season 2. It's the guy who does the raid, and that's all you need. Number 7, what you got?
At number 7, I have Halo, because of the same reasons as The Last of Us. If it touches anywhere near as good as the games, then it's going to be fucking insane and action and awesome.
I don't want you touching your Halo anywhere near me, David. My number 7 is going to be Stranger Things Season 4.
Very nice.
Number 6. What's your number 6?
Bear with me.
You've got to bear with you.
Hang on, no, bear with me.
You've clicked on the wrong thing, haven't you? Are you changing it mid?
No, I'm
rundown?
not changing it. I'm not changing it.
What's the delay?
What's the delay? To get up.
Oh my god! No, we're running out of time, David. I'm not saying I'm not saying the computer explodes when we hit 2 hours. Number 6.
Okay, number 6 is Bridgerton Season 2 because sexy times.
Oh my god, no, terrible. My number 6, not as sexy times, but unless you're into a bit of elf and hobbit action, Lord of the Rings.
Wow, that's only number 6.
Only number 6. Number 5.
Wow,
David.
Okay.
What's your number
5? Stranger Things Season 4.
Okay, yeah. You like
because 11.
Because of 11. Okay, should have been at number 11 then, shouldn't it? My number 5, The Boys Season 3.
That was awful.
Homelander.
My number 4 is The Boys Season 3.
Yeah, but mine's number 5, not number 4. You can't count.
Oh.
But
okay.
now I know that your number 4 is The Boys Season 3. My number 4 is Ozark Season 4.
Ooh, very nice. My number 3 is The Midnight Club, the new TV show coming out by Mike Flanagan.
And it's another one that's not on the list. God. You're just breaking all the rules, David. All the rules. Well, my number 3 is House of the Dragon. Boom.
Oh, that okay. Again, I thought that would be higher. No. My number 2 is The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power.
Okay. My number 2 is The Last of Us, because I'm really intrigued by the people behind the scenes on it.
Wow, I'm really surprised that that's that high up for you. Okay.
So many people have been talking about how good it is. And your number 1 most anticipated TV show of the year, David, is...
House of the Dragon.
That was a dragon roar in the background. It wasn't, it was a burp. I'm cutting that. Okay. Yep, so all the pressure's on that for you, David. And my number 1 is... Can you guess?
Is it a show that's already started? Is it Ozark Season 4?
Ozark Season 4 was literally number 4 in my list. You're not even paying attention to this.
I'm not paying attention to your own list. No, I'm not. I can't remember.
You're a terrible human
We've gone
being.
through it so quickly. You know how bad my memory is.
I mean, Jesus Christ, it was less than a minute.
Wait, let me have another guess. Hang on. Let me think of a TV show that you're really excited for. Oh no, I know it. It's the Sandman. Oh. Sandman. The Sandman.
Exit light. Yeah. Don't try and sing Metallica on a podcast. Terrible idea. Yes, my number 1 is the Sandman, because it's one of the greatest graphic novels of all time, and yeah, hopefully it's just going to be awesome. I'm very excited about it, man. Right, well...
No, dude, I really want it to be good for you, man. I really want it to be good. I really want it to be everything you want it to be.
I think at the end of the day, David...
And if it is, it'll be a bloody good TV show.
I think at the end of the day, mate, our lists are quite similar. And look how much good shit is out there this year. You know, there is so much good shows. And these are all the big ones that we know about.
I keep saying it, mate. We're victims, man. We're victims of the amazing content at the moment. It's not fair on us to expect us to sit there in front of a TV all our lives.
Especially when Netflix will just drop brand new shows every week now. And it is every week that you've not heard of. I mean, they just dropped that South Korean school zombie thing that looks quite cool. Called All of Us.
Yes, it does look quite cool, doesn't it? Yeah.
There was Archive 81, which we both loved. And completely
we both watched that. We both liked it. I liked it. What would you give it? I gave it 7 out of 10 on Instagram.
I'd give it a 7. I think it's very slow going, but it's so creepy you don't mind. Because the longer you're there, the creepier it is.
It's a slow burn, but it's got enough there just to keep you intrigued.
So once again, we'll apologise for running out of time, but I think we did just hit the 2-hour limit there. And hopefully you can interpret our very fast ramblings towards the end here. And breathe. I'm going to go have a heavy drink now, David. A heavy drink. Goodbye.
I'm going to go have a stiff one as well. Goodbye.
And that's what she said.
We needed roads.